Nakia, how are you? Good to see you, girl. And put your question in the Q&A section. If you put it in the Q&A section, that allows me to see it more effectively. So drop your question in the Q&A section. That will make a big difference. And so one thing I want to talk about today actually is I want to get started with this coronavirus. A lot of you have seen that the coronavirus is kind of taken off, and it's become kind of a thing, and it's being discussed all around the world, and it's having real and very serious and very significant economic implications. Right now, the country of China is kind of isolated. I went to China a few months ago, maybe about 9 months ago. Alicia and I went to China. Remember, we documented a lot of that trip because we were studying the economic systems in China and how people in China engage in powernomics principles and philosophies. Well, now we couldn't go to China. We couldn't go if we wanted to. In fact, our son was supposed to go to China, and they canceled his trip because the coronavirus has kind of isolated the country of China economically and otherwise. Apple just made a big announcement about the coronavirus, and basically it's having some real implications globally, and it's slowing down trade. And there's a lot of travel that's being cut off. A lot of airlines are cutting off their flights to China, to and from China. So it's kind of becoming, as I mentioned, it's becoming kind of a crazy thing. So anyway, with that said, sorry, my computer is completely frozen right now. I don't know why. But anyway, so let's see here. I thought it was from Mexico first. Corona. Oh, Corona, like the drink, the beer. Oh, that's funny. Rob says, I just watched Resurrecting Black Wall Street. The whole family loves it. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. Resurrecting Black Wall Street, The Blueprint, is a film released from Boyce Watkins Films. And as you guys know, we have a film division, and we like making movies. And as a result of that, we put out Resurrecting Black Wall Street, The Blueprint, as our first release, because we feel that every Black child in America should know the story of Black Wall Street. We're actually kind of surprised when I went to Tulsa and found out that there were a lot of Black kids right there in Tulsa who did not know about the Black Wall Street massacre, which I think is really interesting in terms of going deeper into what I talked to you guys a lot about when it comes to, the brainwashing in our society and how they work overtime to ensure that they minimize and limit and control the information that Black people are able to receive, and they start with the school system. That's why they don't want you educating your kids, because if you educate your kids, you get too many Boyce Watkinses and too many Marcus Garveys and too many Malcolm X's. So instead, they want to educate your kids so you can get more, Billy Porters and stuff like that. So that's my theory, that I'm sticking to it. I'm not changing my story on that one bit. So I'm going to answer some of your questions now. A few of you are able to watch from the outside in, but the people that are able to ask questions are those who are members of the Black Business School, or those who are members of the League of Intelligent Black People. So if you'd like to participate and put your question in here for the Q&A, you can actually go sign up at the Black Business School, theblackbusinessschool.com, and we bring these things together for the community. So let's see here. Do you have an affiliate program for any of your classes, schools, and products? You know what we do? We tried that, Anthony, and we have to be really careful in terms of how we execute that. That's one of the things that's on our to-do list. We have to find a system that we really like, that really works, one that's not overly administratively burdensome. So just stand by on that. Now that you mentioned that, I actually want to push that forward a little bit, and I'm actually put that on my list of things to do, because I really want to get that going. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay. All right. Dr. Boyce, do you have any suggestions or recommendations on pre-IPOs? I wouldn't get overexcited about them. Typically, the stocks, people that get to participate in the hot IPOs tend to be people that are favorite clients of major investment banks. And these are people that have, tens of millions of dollars in the bank. And so I wouldn't get so caught up in IPOs. There's not a lot to say that an IPO is any better than making a regular investment in a stock. So I don't chase IPOs. I know I personally don't do that, and I'm not going to say that I think that's the best strategy. Let's see here. Now, let me talk a little bit about this coronavirus in terms of the stocks. I had the list of stocks that they were recommending for the coronavirus, and my computer froze. So literally Google Chrome has been freezing on me a lot, and I don't know why. And so because Google Chrome froze, I am going to have to take a, you know what, I'm going to take a back route. Let me see if I can, because Jim Cramer made the recommendation. So let me go ahead and make sure I get this to you. And by the way, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching from the outside in. Okay, so the Cramer recommendations on the coronavirus stocks. He mentioned Clorox as one. Clorox, he said Clorox is one of the stocks that, now not that anybody wants to profit from what's going on with the virus. Let's make that 100% clear. You know, it could become a serious problem, and it's not like people are waiting for other people to get sick so that they can just go make money. But since you're all investors in here, you might as well understand the environment that's around you and how to position yourself properly. So I'm not telling you these stocks are definite high flyers, but these are companies that some experts expect to do well because of the coronavirus. One is Clorox. Clorox makes the bleach and those wipes that you need in order to protect yourself from the virus. Alicia was talking about the coronavirus. It's pretty ugly in terms of what it does to your body. And they say Clorox is expected to do well because of the need for those little wipes to kill the viruses that are on the tabletops and stuff like that. Another company that people are watching closely is one called Zoom. Zoom is actually what I'm using right now to broadcast to you guys. Zoom allows you to have virtual meetings where you can have meetings, with somebody across the world without actually leaving your house or your office. A lot of my team, we meet on Zoom. I have probably, like today, for example, I had 6 Zoom meetings. Every day I have lots and lots of meetings. And today I had 6 meetings, all that happened on Zoom. I talked to a young brother that did a private consultation for me out in, with me out in from LA. And we talked about his plans to start a business and build his or get involved in real estate. I met with a lawyer. I met with an accountant. I met with, who else did I meet with? I met with my brother. I met with my manager. And, so you meet with all these different people. And Zoom is great because Zoom keeps you from having to go pay money to pay money to actually go and buy an office and all that stuff. So Zoom is another stock that they expect to do well because of the coronavirus. Now, another one there, let me see. I'm looking for this damn article and I can't, let me see here. What was another one he recommended? It was Zoom. It was Clorox. Give me a second, guys. Because one of them I actually bought. I just bought it. So if you want to know what I'm buying, I buy stocks every day. And I really think that's a good strategy. Like you should invest regularly. Let's see, the stock I bought, what was that company called? Gilead, Gilead. I think that's what it was called. Gilead. And Gilead Sciences. And in Cramer, according to Cramer, this real loud, annoying guy on who's on TV, he says that basically this is a company that he expects to possibly be able to come up with a cure, or not so much of a cure, but a way to control the coronavirus. The bulls on this stock, meaning the people that expect it to go up, are saying that guidelines aim to improve diagnosis and treatment rates, and prophylaxis use provide strong tailwinds for growth in HIV. So they do HIV treatment apparently. With the approval of Sovaldi and Harvoni, Gilead is the market leader in all oral hepatitis C treatments. So they treat hepatitis C. They also, Gilead markets several single tablet regimens for HIV and its next generation products with better long-term safety profiles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when you look at the Robinhood app, which actually allows you to look at analyst ratings on the stock, 54%, over half of the analysts believe that you should buy it. 39% say hold it. Only 7% say sell. So most people are what they call bullish in this stock. Now here, I'm reading an article here 6 days ago. It says Chinese firm makes Gilead drug in virus fight, raising IP fears. Okay. Gilead's coronavirus drug trial slowed due to lack of eligible results. Okay, so the drug trial was slowed, but if the coronavirus continues to grow and continues to spread, there are going to be some companies that are going to see a boost in their stock price because there is, it's kind of unfortunate, kind of crazy, but there's always somebody making money, no matter what's happening in the world, good or bad. Somebody's out there making money, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Okay. So the next thing, so I'm gonna go to more of your questions. Let's see here. Rhonda says, do you have any suggestions on blockchains you trust to invest in? No, I invest in a lot of crypto. So if you mean cryptocurrencies, I just buy and hold my crypto. I don't actually actively trade crypto. I just buy it and I hold it and I'm waiting. And that's what you do when you own an asset. I just buy it and I'm holding it and I'm waiting. Instead of owning 100, Jay says, instead of owning 100% of one business, I'd rather own 10% equity in 10 businesses. What courses will get me up to speed? A good, let me say, a good course for investing in businesses might be blackmoney103.com, which is our entrepreneurship program. It's the third course in our Black Money sequence. Blackmoney103.com. If you use the code, I think if you use the password Black History Month 2020, if you use the code word Black History Month 2020, you can actually get 80% off because you're here, because you're watching this conversation. I'll leave the 80% discount up for a little while. So feel free to use the code word Black History Month 2020 and you should get 80% off. If you have any issues with anything that you're doing in the Black Business School, as you guys know, we have a 30-day 100% money back guarantee on everything that you invest in, every investment that you make. And also we have a great customer support team you can speak with if you have any questions whatsoever. The support team can be found at support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Let's see here. Next question. But owning that 10% of 10 businesses or something like that is a lot like what Dr. Claude Anderson said. One time, Dr. Claude Anderson and I were in Chicago, and he had done an event, and I was driving him back to his hotel, and he said that he had some Jewish friends that hipped him to a game. He said a lot of people don't want to own a whole business. He said that actually what a lot of people do, what a lot of his Jewish friends would do, and I'm sure people do this of all ethnicities, not just Jewish, is instead of owning 100% of one business, they'll own 10% of a bunch of businesses, right? Or 10% of 10 businesses. Because you see, if you own 100% of the business, you're responsible for everything, right? So for example, I own 100% of a condo that we bought to rent out. And the thing is, it's our responsibility to make sure that the toilet's fixed, or if there's flooding, we're taking 100% of that. Now we get a property management company to deal with all that, but it's still our responsibility. At the end of the day, it's our responsibility, our expectation, our liability. So except for, that's why you have LLCs. LLCs protect you from that liability. But here's the thing. He said that, he was like, when you are a 10% owner and a minority owner, you don't have all that responsibility that comes with being the big dog, right? You're not the big owner of the company. You're not a majority owner, but you don't get a majority of the stress and the majority of the problems and the majority of the responsibility. So you actually get to sort of sit back and just collect your 10%. And so 10% times 10 is still 100%. So you can still get a lot of the revenue that comes from a business without actually having to run the business. And so that's why, one of the misconceptions that I've heard on a regular basis, as our message has kind of permeated throughout the world. And of course, there's some people who are going to get it sooner than others. One of the misconceptions, one of the falsehoods that I've heard is that, Boyce Watkins is telling everybody that they should own a business, or that Boyce is telling everybody that they should run a business. I'm not telling everybody they should run a business. I'm saying that everybody can own a piece of a business, even if somebody else is running it. In fact, if the business is not your passion, then you probably shouldn't try to own it, because you're not going to be very good at it. People that tend to be good at running a business tend to be people that are very passionate about what that business is doing. If you're not passionate about it, don't try to own it, in my opinion. That's my 2 cents. Mr. Brown, are you guys doing anything in the Michigan area? Not anytime soon that I can think of, but I do know, let me see, Virginia's coming up. Maryland, Hanover, Maryland. That URL, somebody invited me out there to do a day-long seminar. And you guys can invite me in if you guys have a group, or 30 people or something, and everyone wants to chip in. That's fine. You can just email Boyce@boycewatkins.com. That's my email address. Feel free to reach out. People do that a lot. But they're having me come out and do a day-long wealth seminar. And the URL for that event, and the public is invited, is springintowealth.com. That's springintowealth.com. And it's a smart move, right? So what they're going to do is basically they're going to pay me my fee, which isn't cheap, but it's my fee. And they're using my name to sell tickets so that they can get the public to come in addition to the original group that set up the event. So that's going to be in Hanover, Maryland. And then also on top of that, the cool thing is, if I'm invited in, like I'll tell everybody about it. So you get a few 100,000 people that hear about your organization or your group, right? So it becomes a good trade. And that's what you seek out. You want to seek out, I don't really I do very well, but I don't do well because I have a great relationship with mainstream America or with corporate America or with the government. I just don't. I'm not that guy, right? I'm a little too black for mainstream. But what I realized is that my business model was to form a good relationship with the black community, a reciprocal relationship where it's like, yeah, I want to get something. I need to get something out of it for my family and for my people out that I work for or work with. But also, when I say work for, I mean I work for the community, right? But at the same time, I want you to win as well. So that's what you do. You form business deals, and when you have business deals, you're establishing trade. When you establish trade, you're establishing wealth, and that wealth can be created internally as opposed to doing what unfortunately integration trained us to do, which is to look for wealth externally, right? To go outside of the community to find, economic opportunities. Actually, there's quite a bit of economic opportunity within the black community. Just that 1.3 trillion alone, if we simply recirculated just half of that money, if we got half of black dollars to stay in the black community, we wouldn't need anybody else. We literally wouldn't need to go and work for anybody. That's my theory. That's what I believe. All right. So Ronell says, I just missed the opportunity to join your stock class. When will you give the opportunity again? Well, since you're here, you got the opportunity right now. So if you go over there today, the code word is Black History Month 2020. Use that and you can actually get 80% off of everything. That's because you're here and you're watching right now. So go to the theblackstockmarketprogram.com, THE. That's the blackstockmarketprogram.com. Use the password Black History Month 2020. And you can get 80% off, but it's only going to be there for today because you came to this conversation and because you're special. You got invited because you're special, because you've committed to us. We want to commit to you. And so, our goal is not to drag you and make you pay $1 billion. But at the same time, we can't do everything for free because we're a black business and we have black people we have to pay. And our simple demand is that if you're going to go pay white people to do things for you, then you should also pay black people to do those same things for you. Also, many of you are $80,000, $100,000 in debt to white universities and stuff like that. Well, we've got PhDs just like they do. We have lawyers, we have professors like Dr. Claude Anderson. We have people that really know what they're talking about. So we refuse to be put in kind of a second-rate category. Now we'll work with black people. Like we'll cut the cost significantly to where you're not paying nearly as much as you paid those white people to educate you. But if you're going to work with black people, we expect you to invest in yourself with us the same way you invest in yourself with them. We don't sort of believe in that whole like black people are too broke to afford education, because we see black people that have enough money to afford liquor, black people that have enough money to afford sneakers, black people that have enough money to afford chicken, black people have enough money to afford movie tickets. Well, if you can afford those things, then you can afford to be down with us. And if you can't, that's okay. We have a free option. You can try that out. And then also you can go. It's okay. We're totally fine with that. We need reciprocity. And that means we give to you, you give to us. That's how reciprocity is supposed to work. Okay, so let's see here. Valerie says, I would like to know, is cannabis growth a good stock to invest in? Valerie, I don't recommend any particular stock. I don't do that. I don't do specific stock recommendations. I did mention what Jim Cramer likes as a stock, but actually when we were in grad school, Cramer's been around for a while. And I remember seeing scholars that did research papers on Jim Cramer. And one of the things that they found was that a lot of the recommendations that Cramer made didn't do that much better than recommendations that a monkey could have made. Like literally. So Cramer, he's famous because he's entertaining. He's not famous because he has some amazing stock picking capability. I just have to be honest with you. But Cramer's argument about, which companies could serve to benefit from the coronavirus outbreak, it does make some sense. I mean, in the sense that to me, it comes down to like, what do I think this virus is going to do? Do I think the virus is going to get worse? Well, if I think it's going to get worse, then maybe I need to go ahead and position my portfolio to be able to benefit if it does get worse. For example, I believe China lies. I think China doesn't tell you the truth. I think China, if they say, oh, it's fine, there's no big deal, I don't trust them, because China works overtime to suppress information. They don't want the public to know what's going on. In fact, right now, the biggest problem China is having is dealing with these virtual what do you call it? These virtual private networks where people are going around their sensors and they're sending information about the virus out to the world. So the Chinese government is trying to shut all that down. So they're trying to control the flow of information. I don't trust anybody who tries to keep you from the truth. That's why I don't trust the Democratic Party, because I remember one time, and I don't really trust the Republicans either. So don't make this into a pro-Trump thing. I hate when people do that. I don't trust the Democrats because I remember talking to a famous rapper once, a friend of mine, not going to say his name. And he told me that when he went on a radio show, that they told him, since you're talking to a lot of black people, don't mention the name Bernie Sanders. This was during the last election when Trump got elected, and they wanted Hillary to win. Like they had been, I guess the radio station had gotten money from Hillary, and they said, do not mention Bernie Sanders. If you mention Bernie Sanders' name, then we're going to cut you off the air. I don't like that because I believe that we should share information and let people make their own decision. But that's just what I believe. Let's see. Robert says, Doc, I have a cosmetology license and right now I'm hustling it. Under the radar, haircuts, a lot of hood clients. The cash in hand is great. But you would agree I need to legitimize this. It's expensive though. Yeah, you got to legitimize it because here's the thing. It only takes one hater to like report you to the IRS and get you in trouble for like, tax evasion or something. So you gotta report all the money that you're making. I don't care if you're slanging dope. The IRS don't care. They'll look the other way. Like you'd be like, oh, I made, $10 million selling heroin. Like ironically, they just really don't care a whole lot about how you made your money. They just want you to report it. Like Al Capone and people like that. That's how they got brought down, was through tax evasion. So I'd hate for that to happen to you. So I encourage you to go legit with it. If you're interested in letting us, what we train you on to help you get there. Like I said, blackmoney103.com. That's the third course in the Black Money sequence. We have Black Money 101 through 106. It teaches all the fundamentals of business and wealth building, things like that, everything from buying a franchise to investing in the stock market. 103 is the third class there. That's the entrepreneurship class. So feel free to go to blackmoney103.com. Use that code word I gave you, Black History Month 2020, and you can actually get 80% off. So feel free to check that out. What was the name of that stock again? I don't know which stock you're referring to, but I did mention Gilead, Gilead. I mentioned Clorox, and there was a couple others he mentioned. And Zoom. Zoom is another one, but Zoom has done really well this year. So Zoom, I don't know if Zoom is going to continue to skyrocket. I believe tech companies might be a little bit overvalued, but Rhonda, what's the difference between high volatility and low volatility stocks? Basically, high volatility stock is like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. Low volatility stocks are pretty consistent, right? So it's like a person, you have high volatility people, low volatility people, right? A volatile person is somebody where you say, how you doing this morning? They're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? How am I doing this morning? Why are you asking me those questions? What you want? Some of y'all got relatives like that, right? A low volatility person would just be cool and relaxed and kind of level and pretty consistent, right? So like when you get married, don't marry a high volatility person because it probably won't last. Samuel Miller, what do you think about investing in gold and silver from apmex.com? I don't know that company at all. I'll take a look at it, but when I buy gold and silver, I just buy exchange traded funds. I don't feel the need to actually have gold that's like in my house. So I would just say, sure. Let me see here. I'm looking at it. Investments you hold, silver, gold, palladium. I mean, it looks fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and endorse it because I don't know enough about this company. But I would just be really careful. Be careful about anything, especially stuff that's like multi-level marketing type stuff. I'm not into any of that. Which math books and courses do you suggest a business owner take to be sharper when dealing with numbers? Good question. Which book? I would just get on YouTube and just learn math on YouTube. You'd be amazed at what kind of great classes they have on YouTube. They got MIT professors that teach on YouTube. So I would just go. That's how I learned physics. I always wanted to know physics. And I just started watching this professor from MIT on YouTube. And then I also learned, what was it? I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what the topic is. Biological something. Oh gosh. But basically it was a class taught by Professor Ken Sapolsky from Stanford. And he was teaching basically how a human brain and an animal brain are connected. I'm always fascinated by how human brains work. and he broke down the fact that your brain is very much like like an animal brain. Like 95% of the human brain is similar to an animal brain. You only have 5% that makes you different. That's the prefrontal cortex, and that's why it's so dangerous to be an NFL player, because when you get hit in the head, you're getting hit a lot right here, and what it's doing is it's reducing your logical thinking ability, your ability to plan and be strategic and stuff like that. So you start behaving more like an animal. Like you get mad and you just want to beat people up and kill people and whatever, right? And if you think about it, NFL players, you know, some of them, when they have that real brain damage, and all of them have it, actually 95% of them have it. You know, they some of them get locked up for crazy stuff. Like, I don't know if you know Kellen Winslow Jr. Kellen Winslow Jr. was arrested because he was raping like 60-year-old women or something, right? And I wonder about him in terms of wondering if he would have that part of his, if he would be thinking that way if he didn't have the brain damage, right? Because that's not really normal. Obviously, it's not normal to rape anybody, period. But I mean, then it's like, you know, your grandma, like women, your grandmas, like that's odd, right? And I bet you that the brain damage has something to do with it, because he took a lot of hits to the head. Aaron Hernandez, who was also killing people, when they opened up his brain, he had a lot of damage to it also. So basically, that's what led me to take Ken Sapolsky's class. I'm not going to go off on that tangent too much, but it is what it is. Let's see here. I would like to know. Okay, wait. Sorry, you already asked that question about it. Mr. Brown says, have you thought about starting an online bank? Nope. Don't want to start a bank. You can have virtual banks, or you can have, you know, banks that function as banks. Like one thing I want to do this year, we'll get around to it, there's so much to do, is have investment clubs, but not an actual club where you're giving me your money. I don't want your money that way. But something where I bring people together to help them form clubs with each other. And then we have kind of a club of clubs, kind of an umbrella organization where you can be sanctioned. But what we can do is also coordinate not just the training of the clubs, but the deal flow to allow you to have deals that you can actually support and fund. So bring Black entrepreneurs in front of groups of Black investors that have investment clubs set up. So let's say that you have, you know, a group of 20 different clubs. All of them have an average of $50,000 in capital a piece, right? So you've got $1 million in investment capital. So you kind of have a de facto bank, because all the bank really does for the most part is it holds people's money in one hand and then it loans it out in the other for the most part. That's right. It makes investments and you just deposit your money there. So, you know, a bank, effectively, to get the functionality of a bank that allows you to do the things you want to do, is you have to have somebody that's got resources that's willing to loan them to you. That's all it is, right? So if we have investment clubs, then we can be each other's bank. Like I think that would be really great. Like I wish I could get a lot of athletes on board with that, where they would actually really care about the Black community. Like I was really disappointed today because I read that Snoop Dogg has $124 million in net worth, and he doesn't even want to have a will because he doesn't care what happens to his money after he dies. And I would just, you know, I wish I could tell him like, hey, leave your money to the Black community. Like, let us use some of that money to help the community. Like, because I could take $100 million and change the lives of probably about 20 million Black people with that. Like, it would be very easy for me to do. And you know, to create thousands of jobs with that. You know, like you can really do a lot with that if you know. The key is you got to know where to put it. It's like a kitchen with a chef. You know, if you put a bunch of food ingredients in the kitchen and the person doesn't know how to cook, then nothing gets cooked. But if you have a chef, a master chef in that kitchen, and you give him all the ingredients he needs, he can cook up something amazing. So I'm kind of like a financial chef, right? Like if I had more ingredients, I have some ingredients, but I don't have the ingredients I really would like to have to really do what I want to do. But if I had, say, $100 million, you could transform the entire Black community with one $100 million endowment. Like if I had a $100 million endowment to let me literally do all the things I'd like to do, I could change the entire Black community in a way that would be remembered for the next 400 years. And I say that with complete confidence because I understand this area very well. So one day, maybe that's going to happen. But until then, and here's the thing about it. If these athletes and entertainers did help form a fund of that magnitude and then did it with no strings attached, they could actually do it in a way where it wouldn't be charity. You see, the problem is they think the Black community is a charity case. No, you know, supporting your community doesn't mean you're losing money. Supporting your community, I need you guys to reframe your paradigm. You see, integration and all that taught you to think like a charity case. And the reason I say that is because you're trained to think that any celebrity or any person that's prominent that wants to help the Black community has to give things away for free. They've got to donate money to the Boyce Club, or they have to, or a scholar like me, or you should be teaching the community for free. That doesn't make any sense, because free things are for people who are children, disabled, or senior citizens. That's what free is for. Charity is for children, senior citizens, and the handicapped. That's it. People who are able-bodied, who actually have resources in their pocket, should not be a charity case. Most of the things that the Black community receives and engages in, these are not free. These are things that the Black people must pay for. And there's a multi-trillion-dollar transaction that's taking place every single year, where money is coming out of the Black community to white communities and Asian communities and whatever, because they're supplying you something, right? So the same thing should be true for Black people who are trying to be a part of the development of the community. So ultimately, I think if these celebrities, like let's say LeBron and Snoop and Jay-Z all got together and said, okay, Doc, we're going to raise $50 million and we want to invest this in the Black community. I don't think that investment should ever be considered a donation. I don't believe in that. I think that we could actually create something that could be profitable, where their 50 million could be turned into 100 million, and the Black community could also prosper at the same time. If you look at the history of how communities prosper, if you look at how communities actually go from poverty to prosperity, charity rarely does that. Charity does not get you from poverty to prosperity. Go watch the documentary Poverty Inc. and it'll explain that. What gets you from poverty to prosperity is not charity, it is trade. It is trade. So for example, in Poverty Inc., one thing they found was they had these white people that they said, we were going down to Haiti and we were just making these donations and we were doing all this charity for these women, for these mothers and their orphan children or whatever it was that they were doing. And she said, we realized, wait a minute, no, we're not helping Haiti by just giving them stuff. We help them if we give them the resources necessary for them to start their own businesses. If we give them training and give them the resources they need to run their business, they gain their dignity and they gain their ability to fish on their own. You're teaching them how to fish. You're not just giving them a bunch of fish so they can starve until you bring more fish. So ultimately, the Black community needs to be taught to fish. And so that's why I don't have a problem challenging the community and saying, no, I mean, the Black Business School has a free option, but we're not free. We're not going to be free, because a community can't prosper if you don't even care enough to invest in education, or if you'll not invest in your education, but you'll invest in a pair of sneakers. Like that's not going to benefit you. That's not going to help you grow. That doesn't help you become economically mature. That doesn't help you become a fully functioning member of the global economy, right? Do you follow what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So anyway, let me keep going. Let's see here. What's the best way for me to approach banks to get a business loan, says Marco, and should I focus on Black-owned banks? Get you an accountant and make sure your books are clean and your books are straight. You probably are going to have to finance your business on your own in the beginning. Businesses or banks don't usually loan money just based on an idea. But if you have a decent credit score, then if you're willing to put your own Social Security on the line and go and back up the loan, then chances are they'll give you some money that way. But they don't really care about how great your idea is. All they care about is whether or not you have a source of income that's going to ensure that you can return their capital after the loan is done. So this whole fantasy of, I had a great idea and a bank gave me $100,000 to pursue the idea, that doesn't happen very often. The more realistic version is, I used my credit card and I financed, my business for a while. And then when I started making money and I had my books, my accountant and I went to a bank, or maybe we went online. There are lots of online lenders like PayPal and Cabbage, and they loaned me money because they saw that there was money coming in my PayPal account. So PayPal will loan you money, not because they like you, not because they think your idea is great, but they'll loan you money because they're looking at your PayPal account and they're looking at your account and they said, okay, this account has money coming through it, so we're going to loan money to this person. Now, the code to get the 80% off discount if you want to go to the Black Business School is Black History Month 2020. That code will be available for another 24 hours, so feel free to go use that. It's Black History Month 2020. You can go to theblackbusinessschool.com right now, and you can actually talk to someone that's on the line about your classes and what you'd like to take. So feel free to go check that out. Should I focus on Black-owned banks? You can look at them, but I wouldn't get so caught up in the whole Black-owned bank versus non-Black-owned bank. A lot of Black-owned banks aren't as Black as you think. I'm not saying that they're worthless or that they're bad, but a lot of times ownership is kind of a funny, sticky thing. Like the Black Business School, we're 100% Black owned. That I can confirm. Oh, without a doubt. I know that there were people that thought that that wasn't true, but I mean, I've got, like, you can look it up in the state, like it's all filed, right? But but a lot of a lot of so-called Black owned banks, you have to ask sort of where do they get their capital. And a lot of Black owned banks get a lot of their capital from sources that are not Black. And so I'm not trying to say that makes them fraudulent. I mean, I think if a bank can help you, a bank can help you. But if you're looking for places to deposit your money, then why not put it in a Black owned bank? I mean, why not? I think that's a good thing. But I actually think you have more impact when you support Black businesses as well that are right there in the hood, like people right in your family, maybe in your own collective, in your own family, in your extended family. If there's a commitment to finding ways to supply things that people need, then and then there's a commitment to actually supporting those businesses and getting your supply from those people, then you can build an economy. And so one of the things that I like to do is I like to find out what you guys need. And then I talk to my team about, like, okay, how can we get what they need so that we can then go to them and say, hey, just consider us amongst all the other places, like maybe if you're selling toilet paper, would you buy your toilet paper from us? The same way you buy it from somebody else. And that's how you build an economy. An economy is nothing more than one group agreeing to fulfill the needs of another group and the other group agreeing to pay them. So ultimately, it becomes a two-way transaction. Okay, so let's see here. Teresia says, I'm part of a Black-owned video sharing platform. It's Yafilme TV, YAFILME TV.com, YAFILME TV.com. Would you be willing to share content on that platform? Sure. Email manager at boycewatkins.com and we can make a deal. We support Quayle TV. Quayle is kind of like a Black Netflix. They have hundreds of Black films. KWELI TV. They have a great app. We support them as well, but we'll support you too. I mean, there's no reason we can only support one. Nazim says, good evening, Dr. Watkins. I have two projects, one film and one real estate. I'd like to discuss with you offline. Please advise. Thanks in advance. I have a business manager that talks to people about business deals. So if you email manager at boycewatkins.com, you can talk to her. I do private consultations, but I can't do them for free because I have literally 1,000 people a year that want to have meetings with me. And it's just overwhelming. I have to admit to you. But I do have a team, and that's why you have a team. So if you send over a proposal, let us know how we can help you. We'd be glad to help you. One thing that we're doing is we want to support Black filmmakers. And so we actually do Black Movie Night once a month, which is free to the public. Everybody in the Black Business School is invited. It's where we digitally get online and we show a film made by a Black filmmaker. And then we have the filmmaker come in and talk about their film. And that's our way of supporting the new Black Hollywood. And I tell you guys about it as much as possible because if you have a customer, you can build a thriving business. All it takes is demand. So if you guys supply the demand, then I can supply the supply, right? Like I can get the filmmakers out here, but y'all got to support them. If y'all support them, then we got a winning formula, right? So if you want to go to the Black Movie Night on Thursday night, we're bringing in the Royal Mix. The Royal Mix is a group of young ladies out of Philadelphia that made a great film, an anti-bullying sort of project. Feel free to go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. Let's see here. Samuel, should Blacks start their own Amazon company? Also, should we work on having our own sports leagues? Yes and yes. I think we should have our own everything. Now, our own sports league is expensive, but I think it's doable. We have a lot more money than the guys had that started the NFL, so I don't see why we can't have our own sports league. I would actually like to see that. I'm not really interested in trying to, see a Black NFL owner. I don't care. I mean, so what? They're giving you a couple scraps, like big deal. What do you think about investing in mutual funds, says Samuel? I think mutual funds are great. It's a great introduction to investing. Let's see. Rhonda says, can I send you one very good investment club idea? Which email should I use? Email manager at boycewatkins.com. That's manager at boycewatkins.com. These were two questions that disappeared from the Q&A. Sorry, Rhonda. Hey, Doc, what do you think is causing the oil crisis? Probably the fact that we're acting like we want to go blow up Iran. Opie says, Doc, what does it mean when you see the same company listed on two different exchanges? Well, a lot of companies can do that. they're able to list on more than one exchange because they're doing more than one stock offering. So a lot of times it might be two different types of shares or something like that. Or maybe it's the same shares, just listed in a redundant fashion. So most stocks I don't believe are listed on multiple exchanges. I got to look that up though. That one I can't say with complete clarity. But yeah, I think a lot of times it might be because they have two different types, two types of assets, two different ways to raise funds. Remember, shares of stock are issued because the companies need money, right? So the company says, we'll give you a piece of our company for this amount of money, and they throw it out to the public, and the public basically crowdfunds the money that the company needs, right? So it's a lot like Jay Morrison's Tulsa Fund. Jay had shares of the Tulsa Fund that he sold. I bought one. I bought about $10,000 worth. Nipsey Hussle bought about $10,000 worth. And basically, Jay got a bunch of people to all invest a certain amount of money. And he had, next thing you know, he has millions of dollars, which he then used to invest in some real estate projects, including the Legacy Center, which is down in Atlanta, which, by the way, I got to call Jay because I want to actually go visit the Legacy Center. I support it, not because I know for sure that it's going to succeed. I support it because I with all the money I use to support things that white people are doing. Why not support a black man, right? I'm not going to give him any scrutiny that I wouldn't give a white guy, right? And I think that as a community, we have to really sort of stop that. Like, we can't go and beat up a black man when he tries to do something new that in a way that we wouldn't go after a white guy. It doesn't mean you can't hold people accountable, but sometimes we actually punish black people worse. We put a bigger microscope on black people. We give them less of a margin of error. And what you're effectively doing is you're creating what I call bad economic soil. Bad economic soil means that your businesses can't grow if you don't give your business owners an opportunity to make mistakes. Like, if you just want to chop somebody's head off every time they screw up a little bit, they're not going to be able to navigate and move. And you're not creating an environment that is encouraging entrepreneurship. You're encouraging corporate slavery. Right. So ultimately, I'm not sitting here trying to say everybody's perfect. I'm not trying to say there aren't going to be some colossal business disasters in the black community. But if you look at any community as it's built up its business environment, there's always been colossal disasters. Elon Musk, he's building rocket ships to go to Mars. He's had ships blow up. His Tesla cars, one of his biggest fans, his head got chopped off in the car. Like, literally, he was a huge Elon Musk fan, and he did videos about the cars with the driverless cars. And this guy literally was in an accident that got his head cut off. And when NASA was building rocket ships to kind of try to go to the moon, half of the rocket ships blew up and people were dying because they were trying to go to the moon. But what happens is you don't just give up just because you fail. You go back to the drawing board and you do it again, right? So we're going to have some failures. We're going to have some mistakes, but you got to move forward. You cannot stop. You can't just slow down and quit just because it didn't go well the first time. Seriously. I mean, that's one of our biggest problems, is that I think that our lack of confidence causes us to give up too early. And we don't understand that great people are never perfect people. There's no such thing as a perfect path to greatness. The path is usually filled with pain and mistakes and mishaps and tragedies all along the way. That's just the way it is. Let me keep going. Lakiam says, how can we own an app like Robinhood for black business only? Gosh, I don't know. I wish I knew. I don't know anybody who has an app like that. If somebody knows of an app like that, feel free to email it to me. Boyce@boycewatkins.com. That's my email address. So it looks like the Q&A section is empty. So I've answered all your questions. And so again, if you guys want to be invited to some of these things, some of you are watching from the outside. I'm only looking at the questions that are in the Zoom. So I can't see your questions if you're watching on YouTube or something like that. But give us a try. Go check out theblackbusinessschool.com. Again, everybody can use that code for today only. Black History Month 2020. It'll give you 80% off anything you want to sign up for. And also, we have a money back guarantee, 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. There is an option to join for free if you just want to try it out and see how you feel. And then last but not least, we have a great customer support team. So if you have any questions, any issues, any concerns whatsoever, you can email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, support@theblackbusinessschool.com. So those of you who support the school, I'd like for you to also support us out here on social media. So if somebody says, oh, I hate the Black Business School because they did this to me or they did that to me, just say, hey, did you email the support team? They have a really great support team. They're waiting to talk to you. They probably just don't know, right? So give the Black business, all your Black businesses, a chance to improve, right? And starting with us, but any Black business. When a Black business owner makes a mistake, don't try to kill the person. Just come back and say, here's where you need to do a little bit better, or here's what I recommend you try, or this didn't work out for me. I just want to make sure you know, because that's how you make business businesses better. All right. Do we have any classes on binary options? No, we do not. We do have a class on stock market investing that's really popular. That's at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. What is the location? The Maryland function in Hanover. It's a casino. I don't know. I think this casino is called Live. Well, the URL, if you want to get more information, is springintowealth.com. And then also, I'm going to do something in San Jose next month if you live out that way. And that URL is wesummit-boyce.com. I think it's wesummit, wesummit-boyce.com. And then there's a church I'm speaking at in Oakland in about a week and a half. I got to find that information. I don't have that information in front of me, but I'll find out and I'll let you guys know. But also don't forget, we're going to be at the Essence Fest early July. So if you want to go to the Essence Fest, you can come out and hang out with us there. We're also, the wedding is in July, also July 11th. That's in Chicago. That's a thing. And then also the All Black National Convention is in Brooklyn in October 16th through 18th. So go ahead and mark that on your calendar. I'd love for you guys to come to the convention. We're going to cover everything from politics and relationships to investing, business, building a business, monetizing your passion, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a business/Black empowerment conference. It's going to be really amazing. So you guys should come check that out too. All right, guys, I'm going to go. She's made dinner, so it's time for me to head on upstairs. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It was real. You guys will hear from me soon. Come hang out with us on Black Movie Night. That's going to be Thursday night. The URL is blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. And here's that code one more time. It's if you want to get the 80% off discount, it's Black History Month 2020. So use that code and you can get 80% off anything you sign up for the next 24 hours. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Peace.